And Bryce's story will air once again tonight at 6 o'clock on WSAZ, and we will have a special interview that we're actually going to conduct right now that we'll see again. And we're joined now by Sergeant Jeremy Burns and Sergeant Burns from the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office. Thank you so much for coming in. You and I talked, when was that? It was probably, 2-3 weeks after the crime had happened.
Yeah, it was after the father had posted.
After the post, that's right.
Yeah.
So, and we spoke on the phone, and I remember, when we had this original conversation, one of the things that really, stuck out to me is what you said about how it's the biggest shame of the whole thing is it doesn't have to end like this for kids or adults. For anybody who's a victim of sextortion, in most cases, those images that they're so afraid will be made public, they're not going anywhere.
No, a lot of times it's all a scare tactic.
Yeah.
They just want to get these images. They know you sent them.
Yeah.
And they're going to let you know we have them. We're going to release them unless you do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I can't speak for every time.
Right. Of course. Yeah. There's no hard and fast rule, but
there's really no proof that they're going to release them.
Yeah, and in most cases, and this is what I've talked with you and other investigators about this, and lawmakers at the state capitol. We're going to talk about that bill in just a minute, because they're international players. These are people who are in another country, and it might be 5 guys sitting around a table in Indonesia.
Right.
And they're just looking for the next victim, and they create this little profile, and they make people think that, oh, this is somebody who lives down the street, and they're going to expose me to all my friends. Meanwhile, all they want is that ransom money. They want their $3,000 or $5,000 or $1,000, whatever they're asking for.
They want that quick cash.
They want that quick cash, and if they don't get it, they try to pressure them into, with all that talk, as we heard from Adam about, like, you might as well kill yourself. You might as well do. And if they don't get cash, they just move on to the next person. They're not exposing your pictures out there, and it's just. And I think that's probably Adam and Amanda. One of the things we're going to put the entire raw interview, by the way, with the entire interview with Adam on WSAZ Plus as well. So we're going to have that because he had so many good things to say. And one of the things he said was, I said, is it hard? Do you guys have a regret? Do you have? And he said, no. We don't, because we had no idea, and neither did Bryce, what this was. We weren't prepared for this, and so we can't blame ourselves, and we certainly can't blame our son.
Yeah, sextortion is not even a crime. It's existed a long time. I mean, this is a fairly new crime in the last few years.
Yeah.
And it's where you're seeing, worldwide. It's not just in the United States.
Yeah.
The UK gets hit really hard. I think they were probably one of the first countries that started getting hit with sextortion cases.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a phenomenon that's grown, and it's gotten worse and worse over the years.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see more of it as time moves on. So I think that's why it's a good idea to get out in front of it, to educate kids about what it is, what to be on the lookout for, and just pretty much how to prevent it from even occurring to you making you a victim.
And I think one of the things that, we think about, we should pass laws, we should do this. The West Virginia legislature actually had unanimous approval for a House bill this session, and it got through bipartisan unanimous support. And it's on to the Senate. It's in committee. It looks like it's going to pass and reach the governor's desk.
That's one of those bills. Why would it not pass?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It's best for the kids.
You worked on a law as well.
I did.
Talk about how that started, because that was years ago, long before we ever started talking about the last couple legislative sessions.
And I feel bad. I can't remember what year.
Yeah,
I know it was between 2010, 2015, 2016. I was a digital forensic examiner and a detective at the sheriff's office at the time, and realized we were seeing a large uptake in sexting cases between juveniles in schools.
Yeah.
And at the time, there was no law that's really targeted juveniles.
It was a new crime, like you said. Yeah.
And I took it upon myself. I wrote up a new law, and I had former prosecutor Dan Holstein at the time. He helped me draft it, get it presented, get it pushed through. A few other lawmakers jumped on with it while it was going through the process, but eventually it got signed into a law, and now we it's on the books, and that pretty much kept us from charging juveniles with what we would charge say a 50-year-old guy taking pictures of children naked.
Two totally
It
different
was
things.
two different things,
Yeah.
and now it's specified juveniles sending pictures to other juveniles,
Yeah.
because that's what we were having the
Yeah.
biggest uptake in crime with.
And
So that was a good law to get passed. I do know when it was getting passed through, they did change the first offense to re-education.
oh, they did. Okay. Okay.
So
I was
that-
just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, that way kids, if they made a mistake, maybe they didn't know better, they could be, instead of, going to a juvenile detention
Right,
center
sure.
for their crimes,
Right.
they can be re-educated and, pretty much told exactly what you did wrong and
Yeah.
don't do it again.
Yeah. And I think that it's, I'm sure that you probably got a lot of parent input on that at the time, because that was a real issue. And now this bill, there was one that passed last year that was passed by the West Virginia legislature. This one has that education component in it. And
Right.
I think, and Adam and Amanda say the same thing, that education component, and I would imagine you'd say the same thing, get into the classrooms, get kids to understand there is no reason for you to have fear over because that's what they're peddling is fear, these
Pure fear.
extortionists.
And it is probably the most heinous, despicable crime I can think of.
Yeah.
That you could also
No
actually
arguments
do.
there.
I mean, you're asking children to take pictures of themselves nude.
Mm-hmm.
You're asking them to send those across the internet, and then when you're not getting the money you want, you're actually telling them to kill themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of world can somebody feel like that's okay to do? I mean,
And then they just move on. That's the most unbelievable part is how the extortionists then
on to the next kid.
on to the next kid. They just move on to the next one. And Adam said, because he's involved with this parent support group of other parents, unfortunately, who've gone through this, and their goal, their mission, their stated mission that Adam said that they have, Adam and Amanda would like to see no other members join this group. They know, unfortunately, there will be, but they want to see as few members as possible join this parent support group, which means they're getting that word out. And that is the most important thing, get the word out, and education for kids.
And just
And
like he
adults.
said in his video, this was something he never thought to talk about with his child.
Right.
Because he didn't
Never
know.
heard of it.
Yeah, he hadn't been educated about it.
Yeah.
There's law enforcement officers, until this actually happens in their area, they
Mm-hmm.
probably have never heard of it because it's still that new of a crime.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's kind of been on your radar for a long time because of your work in that. Talk
Right.
about how what you guys do in forensics can sometimes be way above our heads, and yet at the same time you guys are kind of on the forefront of that.
We are. The West Virginia State Police had the first digital forensics lab in the state. We had
Mm-hmm.
the second. And I headed up that program when it first, we decided to create it at the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah.
Since then, it's been taken over by Detective Payne, and that's who actually did the forensic examination
On
the
this
cell
case,
phone.
yeah,
And it's funny, I quit doing forensics in, I think, 2016. And to go talk to him now,
yeah,
I couldn't do that job now.
just 10 years later.
That's how much it has changed.
Yeah.
And how much the software that you have to examine has changed, and the cell phones and the size of the cell phones, the storage capacities. It's actually crazy for me to walk in his lab to try to do a job that I used to do every day for 6 years, and no, I couldn't do it anymore.
Because
So,
it's
it's that
advanced. The
difficult.
technology is
Yeah.
advanced that much. That's incredible when you think about it like that from that standpoint. Because, from an investigator standpoint, the other part of that is they know 10 years from now, if somebody else takes their job, Detective Payne's not going to be able to do that. He's going to be in your shoes.
Exactly.
It's going to change that much.
He's going to feel like a dinosaur just like me.
Yeah, but hopefully, the education aspect of this gets people to the point where they're not falling victims as much, where they see, because it's as easy, and that's what they said, just go to your phone, you block, and then delete. Delete all the
Yeah,
messages,
block.
block it, and done. You're done.
And the most important thing, I think, to get out of all this, if you do not know the person you're messaging,
Oh, yeah.
don't message them. It's that simple. But these guys, they have a lot of ways of getting into your life. One is if your social profiles are open, say your Instagram, especially with teenagers,
Yeah.
it's not locked down. They can go in and see all your friends. They can see your profile, your biography. They know where you go to school because you listed it. And then they start searching for kids that go to your same school.
That's what they do.
That's where they get that name list. So when they're messaging you, like, yo, I know Jenny Smith. She's in 11th grade at your school, right? Yeah, that's how I know. I'm cousins with her.
Yeah.
They'll make up a whole story, and it sounds believable because they know who you went to school with based on what they've put together from your social media, profile.
Right.
And then there's other ways they do it. They will create Facebook groups and say there's a video game like play, say Fortnite. They'll say females who play Fortnite and post pictures and say, hey, here's my username. Let's play Fortnite together. And you're not playing with a female. You're playing with a guy who's trying to get your information, trying to, start this relationship with you. That turns into texting. That turns into you sending pictures. They send pictures of you, which they have pictures because they've been doing this to other kids for all these years.
And then it turns into extortion.
And then as soon as they get the pictures of you, it turns right into the blackmail.
Yeah. And it's just such a, as you said, it has to be one of the worst crimes out there because they're taking advantage of kids. And then the way they just disregard life, trying to convince. 110 messages, he said, on his phone in the course of a couple minutes.
I think it's not really the amount of messages. I think it's the time frame. If you look at less than 3 hours from text 1 to the last text.
In Bryce's case, yeah.
And he took his life.
Yeah.
Less than 3 hours is all it took for them to completely destroy not only his world, his family's world, his friends' world, schoolmates.
Yeah.
3 hours.
Yeah, that's the most unbelievable part, that the time frame right there. I know that the specifics of the case and the investigation, we can't talk about that because the investigation's still open, obviously, into Bryce's death. But it's not a closed book. This doesn't even if these are international players, it doesn't mean that the FBI is saying, oh well, we can't do anything about it. They're still looking into this case.
Well, you have to understand, being the FBI, being a federal law enforcement entity, they're handling cases from all states.
Yeah.
So they're compiling.
Right.
They're doing a larger investigation than what we could do.
And possibly tying in some of these same,
Exactly.
because they follow a playbook.
Yeah.
You guys said. And that's the...
They have a script.
They have a script.
They have a script to go by.
Because the parents, Adam said, they've talked to parents in that parents group there, and they read the text and they're, that's exactly what they sent to my child, word for word. So they're literally copying and pasting, boom, boom, boom.
Exactly.
And you think about what you do in work when you're sitting around in your job, whatever, the amount of times you're like, oh, I'm going to take that email and send it to this person. They're doing the same thing, but what they're doing is criminal. And it's just, it's hard to think about.
Now, also, we need to make sure we're not only educating juveniles, we need to educate adults on this because they target adults.
Yeah.
They target married men.
And they're maybe going to have some actual cash there. And so...
I can't remember which state, but I do know there's a story I read up on where a man was married, thought he was talking to an underage female, sent pictures, and they're like, oh, you just thought you sent pictures to an underage female. We're going to tell your wife unless you pay us money. Unfortunately, this guy took his wife's life.
Panicked.
So, because he didn't want her to find out.
He didn't want her to find out, so he'd rather have her die than, and there's the fear aspect. They peddle fear, and they. Adam said they even do things as strangely as it may seem, as though, well, then maybe if you go hurt your dog, injure your animal. The parents groups have said that. Maybe I'll leave you alone.
They're trying to get more blackmail on you. Is what they're do.
And it's just wow.
Because you do that, and you're like, oh, now we have a video of you hurting your animal.
Yeah, right.
So
delete, and then block. Delete, block, delete, block. Can't say it enough.
I can't emphasize enough. If you don't know somebody, don't
do anything.
Just don't talk to them.
Right.
And that goes with all crimes. That goes with all these scams that you see. With, people, getting elderly people to send them money.
Send the money
via Bitcoin ATM machines, which that's a whole other subject you and I could talk about for a full hour.
A long time.
It's all about, if you don't know the person, don't communicate with them.
Yep.
Just hang up on them. Even if they say they're law enforcement. If you're going to hang up on me on the phone, that's fine. I'll come knock on your door and talk to you personally if I need to really talk to you.
Right.
So no matter who they say they are, if you don't know them, hang up on them.
Yeah, those law enforcement scams, we hear that from police all the time. They'll say, hang up, and then call the actual department that this person said they represent and say, are you calling? And of course, no department ever calls anybody to try to get money out of them.
We don't ask.
It's not the way it works. You don't ask.
You should never get asked for money. From police.
No, police aren't going to say, I need you to pay cash. But again, it's that fear, and they pressure, and they pressure, and they pressure. So, I guess that's the bottom line. If you don't know who you're talking to, don't talk to them.
Don't talk to them.
Yeah, and again, just trying to, and that's part of this idea of what Adam and Amanda want, is to get this word out there, because, as Adam says, he doesn't want his son's death to be in vain. He doesn't want those cowards, as he called them, to have the last word. And so he wants to try to get this message out there to all parents, and to your point, to adults even, to not fall for this.
I'll have to say, this is probably one of the most, I say, proud moments I've ever had in law enforcement towards a victim. For his parents to take this initiative, to not hesitate on getting the word out, to making sure that people knew the details. I mean, they were cool with us releasing information. Normally, we don't release information.
Yeah, and you guys caught some flack for that too publicly. There were
yeah.
public comments. Well, why are you guys releasing that information? It's like, well, the family specifically asked, because in cases of suicide, the natural thing is, if you guys inform us, law enforcement informs the media, like, hey, this is suicide. We immediately go, oh, okay, we understand.
Yeah.
It wasn't a homicide, it was a suicide. But in this case,
You're also adding the juvenile factor into it.
Right.
So not only we're reporting to the public
Yeah.
a suicide,
Right.
we're letting the juvenile's information out.
Right.
Which is something we never do.
Right. But the parents ask, Adam and Amanda feel it's that important, because we heard about what happened from the school, actually, because WSAZ was scheduled for the very next day. November 6th is when Bryce died. The evening of November 6th. November 7th, we were supposed to be there early morning for a Fired Up Friday episode. And so we were going to roll in, and all the students and all this fun stuff, and undoubtedly Bryce would have been there screaming. And then we heard about this, and the school principal said, we can't do this. We have to cancel this. And we immediately understood why, because they told us why. We didn't know all the details, but we had heard about this. And of course, we never reported it until his father reached out, and you, like you said, that not every parent could do that. That's a bold and brave move.
It is, and it has, unbeknownst to him, who knows how many lives he saved just by coming forward. One time.
Yep, and he knows. And I don't know whether he share this. He shared this with us in the conversation. At least 20 people just in Kanawha County alone, 20 parents, since this story happened, since his son's death, and since him going public. At least 20 now, 20 and counting, have contacted him and said, your son's message saved our child's life.
And that's
20 times already.
Absolutely awesome.
Just in one county. So it has to be happening everywhere. So, yeah, get this message. Thanks for coming in and taking the time to do this. We can't thank you enough. It's all for Adam and Amanda to try to get that message out there and get Bryce's story told, because there are lives that can be saved.
Exactly.
Definitely.
There's so many kids out there, like I said, 20 in Kanawha County alone has come forward.
Yeah.
Times that by the whole state, times that by the country.
Yep.
Insane.
Get it out there. Get that
Insane
message
amount
out
of numbers.
there. Yeah. All right. Jeremy, appreciate it. Sergeant Jeremy Burns, Kanawha County Sheriff's Office. We're going to have, as we said, this story will air once again. It'll be posted on WSAZ Plus. You can find it on our app. But it will air again live tonight at 6 o'clock. And we'll have the interview with Sergeant Burns coming up as well. So thanks or at least a portion of it. We went a long time. I didn't realize that. We were talking for a while, so we'll have at least a portion of Sergeant Burns' interview on tonight at 6 o'clock. So can't thank you enough for taking the time to pay attention to this very, very important message and talk about it. Talk about it. Spread that message. Talk to your kids, not just your kids about it. Talk to your neighbors about it. The more people who get the message out there that these sextortionists do not hold the power over you. They do not. They don't have the power. You have the power, and the power is block and delete. It's that easy, and don't worry about what they're trying to tell you. And that's the message that you can tell everybody. And thankfully, it will now be in West Virginia schools, and maybe this will spread to other state school boards across the country. That would be wonderful, all in the name of Bryce Tate. So thanks for being with us. We'll see you once again with this story tonight at 6.